Zoom had the pressure of being in his hometown for the last fight. Stipe had that pressure going to this fight. This is his first fight in Cleveland, his big homecoming. Is that somewhat of a disadvantage for him because he has that?
It's all about if he can stay focused, yes or no. I had my last fight, UFC Rotterdam. I mean, I stayed focused and we did marvelous in that fight. But how do you deal with it? How are you going to go into that fight? And if you're doing the appearances and the pool parties, because yes, we have seen Stipe on several of them, not one, but several, he's enjoying the life. And that's not a bad thing, but know somebody's coming and somebody's going to take that belt and he's not going to enjoy life because he's working.
Are there pool parties in Cleveland?
I was in Vegas, UFC 200. Everybody was there, you never know what goes on over there.
So
I was there too,
Yeah.
but I went to bed.
Do you think having your first fight in the UFC against a big marquee guy like Lesnar and beating him, do you think that helped or hurt you in staying in focus at that time?
That helped me, or what did you
Or
do?
hurt you by having that win over such a big name? And then
How does that hurt me?
with the focus as you're talking about, staying in focus.
Back at that time, focus, people and things, events take energy away, right? We agree, we understand that, right? So at that time, there were so much factors draining energy, just like amazing. I was moving, I broke up in my relationship, what else? There was like a lot of things going on back then. So, and I believe now at this time, I don't really have things that take my energy. I just believe I have things around me that give me energy. And then I'm talking about Albuquerque. I'm talking about the great coaches there. I'm talking about my personal coaches that I fly into Albuquerque that work with me, my sparring partners. It's just all giving me energy, and that allows me to put down these amazing performances.
In the heavyweight division right now, the top 9 are all 31 or above. What is it about the heavyweight division that's so tough for a young fighter to make his way into the ranks?
I think that, the art of fighting, you learn it throughout the years. You're not going to learn that in 1 or 2 years. You can kind of get okay, but really learn how to fight and be clever, that takes maybe 10 or 15 years. And that's why the heavyweight division is a little bit older. I think maybe, competition is also less. And I mean, we are the strongest, right? So it's like a little longer longevity.
Yes, who was it? I think it was Travis Brown that was talking about that. He was saying actually it's because the intelligence that you guys have to have as you go up, because you're so dangerous, because it can end with one punch, that you have a little bit more longevity because it takes you guys a while to get smart about that stuff. Fair statement?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. But at the same time, then, you don't feel like you've taken too much damage over all these years? I mean, you guys are a little bit older than some of the other weight classes.
Also, a good question. To me, my body's still holding up very well. I attribute that to, I eat always very proper, and here in the States I have to eat very, very clean, otherwise, it just doesn't work well in my body if I don't. And, I'm half Dutch, half Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
The Jamaican genes are really, I've been there 2 years for the first time, and you see 50-year-olds who look like 35-year-olds, and they're ripped, they look amazing.
Yeah.
So I think good genes is a thing.
Yeah. Does it bother you, people still make fun of you and horse meat? How much does that bother you?
It doesn't.
Does it?
Come on. Listen, I'm focused on work.
Yeah.
There goes a lot of energy into camp. It's the game plan, it's training, it's the sparring partners, it's the coach, it's the diet, it's everything around that, keeping the team right, the management team right, keeping everything. So I'm really not focused on what other people, because when you're in the spotlight, you're gonna get a lot of love. I appreciate that. We all like the love,
Yeah.
but you're gonna get a lot of hate too. And it's all about brushing off the hate and embracing the love.
Well, I wanted to ask you. Yeah, because our fans, God bless them, sometimes are the worst in the world with the stuff they say about you guys.
Yeah, but I've always had a big I don't care mentality, and you gotta have that. Otherwise, you're not gonna get anywhere. If I'm gonna be in the spotlight and you're gonna be very concerned with people who say about you, that's not a good attitude to have.
With all your accomplishments, Alistair, Strikeforce, Pride, K1, is the UFC belt the one thing that's kind of missing, the one thing that you still really desire and want?
You said it. It is. It is. I mean, we went basically to all these different promotions, and we always give it one hell of a fight. And we came out on top many times. And now all these other promotions are kind of like gone. And the UFC is the one big one left, and it truly is the biggest one. It's worldwide. Everywhere where I go, I get recognition, I get recognized. UFC truly is the elite, and it is the only one missing. So the last belt, September 10, we're going to get it, and we're going to write history.
Have you thought about your legacy, because you have done so much across the world, and now you're doing very well in the UFC. You're fighting for the title. Have you looked back and said, I'm one of the better heavyweights really of all time? Have you thought about that?
It's funny because I did realize that, but you're not really thinking about that because you got stuff to do. But
Sure.
sometimes I do reflect back and I'm like, hey, it's been a long career, 22 years of training and competing, and we beat Fedor, we beat Bader, we beat Peter. We have all these names. We got 6 UFC champions. I'm pretty proud of that too.
That's pretty great.
Stipe would make a great number 7. Ask him what his lucky number is. But we're just focusing on work. We're not really enjoying it. We're not really, because why would you, right? Let's just get this over with, and we'll take some time to enjoy after.
It does seem like something other people should say about you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
you're the greatest.
that's.
But it's true when
On
you
the
look at the
list,
rest of
certainly right up there. People, when Verdum won the belt, people were talking about him. Well,
Yeah.
maybe he's one of the best heavyweights ever. Look what he's done over. I think you can say the same thing about yourself, right?
Yeah. Well, and then I don't agree with Verdum at all. But then the big question is Fedor. Is he the greatest of all time?
But at the time Verdum beat Fedor, he was untouchable.
Okay, but that's Fedor, that's Verdum. But I just don't think Verdum, when you look at it, it's always a little bit, I'm not a big fan of his fighting. I respect his accomplishments because he's just a very tricky and he's a clever guy. But I'm just not blown away by his performances. When you look at Fedor, I am way more blown away by his performances. And also somebody like Big Nog,
Yeah.
right? They also had like a great run in Pride. But about Fedor, what do you think? Is he the greatest of all that? That's a good one, right?
I know it's
It's
a
a
very
good
difficult
one.
question. I feel like I wish Fedor had stopped fighting, because I feel like that fight with Maldonado kind of took away from because I didn't think.
Always nice to hear your opinion. Let's continue.
But that's what I know that you have personal experience with Fabricio, and your fight was weird, right? So that might be also why.
No. He beat me once. I beat him once.
Yeah.
It's 1-on-1. Maybe there's going to be a third fight, but it's not weird.
Yeah.
Since he beat me fair and square, I beat him fair and square.
I'm saying I guess the second fight was the one that was a little odd. Right?
No. It was a beautiful fight, but a strategic fight.
Yeah.
He was fighting for something, I was fighting for something, and I came out on top. And it was kind of funny because I'm the K1 champ, he outstruck me. He's the black belt, whatever. I outgrappled him. So it was a beautiful fight.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful fight. High competition, high level.
Yeah. Well, when you look back on your fights, even including kickboxing, do you have favorites? Do you have ones where you think that was the best performance you ever put on, or one that for some other reason just is more significant to you than others?
Well, the K1 championship was special to me. As a sole MMA guy going into a basically different sport. And then, in the beginning it was hard. Even at the gym, Benji will know. I got in the gym and it was a fight every time, every Wednesday, 10 rounds. And then slowly but surely I became better, and right in 2010, right before I became champion, I was basically knocking everybody out in the gym. And these were A-class K1 level guys. And then I became champion on that. So that was like kind of special. Of course, Dream fight was great. 19 seconds, just go in there. Strikeforce was special because Strikeforce was at the time a more prominent, more hard division than UFC.
Yeah.
Fedor was in there. Fedor didn't want to fight me. Declined to fight me on 2 occasions. So I'm very proud of my accomplishments. Very proud of my championships. And we've had some losses in there. We fell down. We got back on the horse. It is what it is. I'm very proud of my journey.
Do you think Fedor is the best of all time as far as heavyweights go? Is
I
he the guy?
I don't actually, because I like him. He's a friend of mine. I like him as a person. I've never had anything negative with him, even when when we were supposed to fight and he declined. But at the time that he could test himself, and he had several occasions, he turned down the UFC, and the UFC is where the competition is at, and he declined to do that.
Is that a fight you want still? Is that still on your
No,
list?
no, totally not.
Why?
Totally not. Because he is not in the high-level competition. You could see it. He did the comeback fight. The whole world is watching. He fought Maldonado. And if we're honest, he lost that fight.
Yeah.
If we're honest, he lost that fight. Then, of course, it's Russian. We were talking about the judges. They kind of, and then it was like a draw.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm not gonna hunt for somebody who's down. Why would I want to beat him? You know, when you look at my resume, when you look at my career, it's always been about challenging myself to the max. You know, going into the K1, fighting Butter. That was about challenging yourself. Okay, he challenged me, but ultimately it's up to me if I accept it or not. And I accepted it. We went into there, and it was kind of agreed. Okay, we're going to do 2 fights. We're going to do one K1 and then one MMA fight. But when I stood on that catwalk, when I was looking, you know, in the audience and 50,000 people, I knew I had a little voice in my voice telling me, "Listen, that MMA fight is never coming. So you better knock this guy out now, so you don't ever have to fight him again." And that's what happened. I said, "Fuck it, we're just gonna go for it." And yeah,
And
but
any
it's
of your losses? Oh, sorry.
it's
No,
about testing yourself, finding yourself, testing yourself, and of course we've hit the ceiling too sometimes. But what do you wanna?
I was wondering if there were any of your losses that you would want to avenge, like in the near future. Is there anybody that you felt like, man, I really want to get that fight back?
No. The losses came because at that time maybe I was weak, I was distracted, or I just didn't have my thing together. You know, if you look at a Bigfoot Silva, yeah, why would I want to avenge my loss on him? He's 6 losses out of his last 7 fights, and then he pissed hot. So I have no interest at all to. Yeah, no. He got, you know, he fought me. He was on TRT. You know, I just see that he got lucky. It was his day. Congratulations. I hope he's going to be very happy with it for a long time. Because now it's like not relevant anymore.
Over time, what has kept you motivated as a mixed martial artist? I mean, you've had such an extensive career in both, you know, kickboxing and MMA. What has been the central drive for you that's kept you going throughout the years?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm very competitive by nature, and I just don't like to give up. And at the same time, I'm also very creative. So I think combined, I just don't like to give up. I like to win, and I like to figure out how we're going to do it. And yeah, I think those 2 factors.
Jamaican, what'd you think when you watched Bolt? Just the Jamaican runners in general.
I didn't watch him. I saw it on social media.
Oh,
He
yeah?
did great. I mean, 3 gold medals, I believe. Yeah, he's a phenomenon, right? He's
Yeah.
winning everything. He's a big guy too.
Yeah.
6'5", I think,
Yeah,
or
he's very
6'6".
tall.
He's like
Yeah.
like this massive wall.
Right.
But yeah, it's very nice for the Jamaican people, of course, Jamaican country.
Yeah,
They got their hero.
yeah, he is a hero.
I have to go back and ask you. So you don't think Fedor is the top heavyweight? Is it Big Nog? Is it?
Well,
Is it? Who
okay,
is it then?
about Fedor. And again, he's a buddy. I know him. We've never had, you know.
Sure.
But he had a great run, because I want to explain a little bit.
Yeah.
He had a great run in rings. Then he went to Pride. He had a
Yeah.
great run in Pride. But Pride, there were 2 guys who he was competing against, right? Big Nog, and who had a great run as well.
Right.
And who else? Croco,
Croco.
who had a great run too. And then Pride went away. What came after? Okay, he did a little. After Pride, it was not really top notch anymore, right?
Okay,
And I
fight for
think
Strikeforce.
he messed it up with Strikeforce, and he totally messed it up with coming back, right?
Yeah.
Like you
yeah.
said, he came back,
And
fought
was-
Maldonado. Maldonado is a light heavyweight. Fedor is a heavyweight, and he actually lost that fight. Right? Had he stayed away, that 10 years was kind of like, okay, with ups and downs, but he had the 3 wins, came back, and yeah. So I just don't see it there, if I'm honest. Always be honest, right?
Thank you.
Looking at the heavyweight division right now, one of the heavyweights that you kind of never crossed the path of is Cain Velasquez. Do you feel if you are to beat Stipe that he is next in line? I know you mentioned that you're not the biggest fan of Verdum.
I don't know if Cain is going to be next in line, but you know, I'm a guy who likes to test myself. My career, when I look at all my fights, 86 fights in total, if you put K1 and MMA and UFC and everything together, I mean, you look at it and you can draw one conclusion. I like to test myself. And Cain Velasquez, former UFC heavyweight champion, he's done great versus Travis on UFC 200. I think he can't be missing to that list. So I would love to fight him after. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be deserving. You know, there might be another win needed from him or whatever. But looking at my overall record, we cannot not have Cain Velasquez in it.
You know, you were just mentioning your long career. Obviously, you're someone who's paid your dues in this industry. Looking at 203, the other fight that's probably garnering the most attention is CM Punk's fight. A guy who has the same amount of professional fights as myself.
How many vets you got?
So, do you feel like it's worth the attention? Do you feel it's helping or hurting 203?
No, listen, I totally understand and realize you need to have these show fights to, you know, kind of boost the sport. And, you know, we're going to talk about Brock. Brock came from the WWE. I think it was great for the sport. I mean, you had a big guy. I enjoyed watching his fights. So the same for CM Punk. He's getting a lot of attention, but I think, you know, it's not going to be in his favor because his division, you know, welterweight, he's welterweight, right? That's like a very hard division. To me, he's making a mistake. He doesn't know what he's getting himself into. He's talking about, I want to test myself, this and that. Well, he's gonna be tested because two things are going to happen. Either he's going to lose and quit, or he's going to win and he's going to lose later on and quit.
Yes.
But for him to think that he can just do this for fun and test himself and see, you know, and I do have to respect that, testing himself.
Sure.
I do have to respect that. I am at the same time hoping for the upset because we all love upsets, right? I hope he's going to do great and this and that. But we are going to, in the end of the day, find out what CM Punk is made of.
Do you have any words of advice for him?
Keep your hands up. No, it's. I'll be watching it. I'll probably be doing my thing in the dressing room, so I'll watch later. But he's gonna be tested, you know, and I'm gonna wish him luck. I'm gonna wish him, you know, you gotta keep on going. Don't don't give up at the first hurdle you encounter. His age is working a little bit against him, right? Because he's 39, 38. How old is CM?
He's like 36, right?
Yeah.
36, 37.
He's 36, 37?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then your first fight, I don't know.
Stop.
Does he have any martial arts background? We were talking about earlier.
He's been training jiu-jitsu, striking.
So he's like a blue belt,
No.
not even
White
a blue
belt.
belt, a white belt, jiu-jitsu. Yeah, so you know,
We tried.
he's in for a rough ride because he wins the fight by any chance of luck. He's fighting a motivated kid. He throws some punches, he clips him, he wins. What comes next? Or is it going to be 2 years later again, right? But how good can you become in 2 years, right? That's the question. And then you look at the top, you know, Damian Maia and Thompson, and who's the champion? Who's the champion over there? Woodley is the champion. All good. You know, that's not even out of. So, but again, you know, we all love upsets. I love upsets. I'm not gonna be a hater. You know, I'm actually gonna be rooting for him. But it's gonna be a rough path he chose.
You had
When
mentioned
Brock-
in the past that you would like to rematch with Brock. I'm not sure where he's at now with this whole drug testing, but is that still something that you'd be interested in?
Yeah, I would, but I just don't see it happen. You know, you had the test, and you know, I'm totally not familiar with the procedure now for him, but it seems to me that was his last performance. I don't see him. I mean, he's 40 years old or 41.
39.
He's going to come back when he's 44 or something. I just don't see that happening. Just don't see it happening.
So
Unfortunately.
were you disappointed when he tested hot then?
Well, of course you're a little bit disappointed, but at the same time I was surprised with his physique. He was very big. You know, he looked better now when I fought him 4 years ago. So that was like, what's going on? And again, I fought Mark Hunt, I fought Brock. I defeated both, but what I remember about Hunt is that he was the strongest guy I ever faced. He just threw me on the ground like this. And he was being manhandled by Brock, so that was a little bit suspicious too.
Were you approached to fight Lesnar? Did they offer the fight to you for 200?
No.
Would you have taken it if they would?
Well, I already had the championship fight lined up, right?
Hmm.
So championship is going to be a
Yeah,
little bit bigger
a little more
priority
important.
than a rematch with Brock. Yeah.
The Brock money is nice though. The Brock Lesnar fight purse when you
The
fight
$200
him,
million, the Mayweather money.
Well, no, maybe not that. But
You know, speaking of Mayweather money and all that, we were just having a discussion here during lunch about people like Conor McGregor and the need to be vocal, the need to sort of say dicey things sometimes about your opponent, you know, to get attention. Do you feel ever that you have to get more involved in that game? Or that
You know,
maybe sometimes you've
I'm
been
gonna
too
I'm gonna
polite,
tell you
or-
something. I'm from Holland. In Holland, we're you know, we like to dress up, we like to do our thing, we like to be cool. But what we don't like is to, you know, have stacks of cash on the table and the cars and, you know, to us in our culture. And in that respect, I'm very proud to be Dutch. That's just, you know, attracting problems, attracting difficulty. You know, and my answer to that is to Mayweather and both the Connors, let me see some bank statements. Because you can talk, you can say it, you can put it out there in tweets, but let me see a bank statement that says UFC wired X amount of money,
Yeah.
because it's always going to be disappointing,
Yeah.
right? People lie. It's the 21st century. Social media is fake. People lie all the time. Yeah, I personally have a hard time believing both of them about their income.
But you know, the other thing too about your choice to not engage with that, with the social media, is that in times people have labeled you aloof. Alistair, you know, thinks he's better than people, because I guess you just don't play the game. Do you know what I mean? So some people thought
You
you
know,
were a little snobby.
I am my own guy, and I've always kind of followed my own path. I do what I think is right. That brings me happiness. If I'm gonna do something because somebody else is doing that, I see that as fake. You know, because again, you look at these other guys and they're making the stacks of cash. Who was the first doing that? Was Muhammad Ali doing that. So you're copycatting another guy. You know, I'm just being me, and I feel very comfortable being me. I don't feel obliged to be somebody else at all. I'm very proud of being me. And listen, if the other guys want to do that, that's fine. But I'm not gonna do it.
And when you're training, do you like the approach? You know, some guys like to have a whole bunch of other, you know, teammates around them all training together, or do you prefer to have kind of more of a specialized, you know, just you and your coaches, where you don't necessarily have everybody around with you at the same time?
Well, I like to have both, but it depends, you know, because we're fighting at such a high level and there's such a lot at stake. So I do keep my little things private, and I have my own coach, my own guys I train with. But if there's no fight, I love to train with the team in Jackson, so I'll train anywhere. You know, I can just walk into a gym in Thailand, kick some mitts. I love learning new things. You know, I don't always want to train my thing, because then I want to do a lot of different stuff. So I love to visit other gyms, train there, say hi. But when we go into fight specifics, and especially these big fights, I kind of keep the circle small.
So what have been the determining factors then? Since we know you were with Blackzilians, we know you've done things with Jacksons, we know, like you just said, you've been around the world. What do you find, or what determines whether you click with people or not?
That's a good question. Well, you know, in life, you have, the way I see it is, you have people that like you and people that dislike you, and that goes for me as well. I like people or I don't like people. I try to keep a little bit of an open mind, but there's going to be a lot of people out there that for some sort of reason don't like you. And if you're going to be in like a fight team, there could be many fighters there that are a little bit jealous. You know, jealousy is like a huge thing. They have devoted their life and putting everything into it, but they're not getting the results that they want, and then I am getting what I want out of it. So that could be, there's many factors, many things, and that can create friction, it can create stress. And and if you're in an environment where there's like a lot of people around you that don't want you to win, that's like not good. You need to have people around you that support you to the fullest, because then you're able to reach the stars. If you're going to have people around you that's going to try and block you and create friction, it's not.
So that has
So you
to
always have to watch out for that. And you know, when you look at all the greats, like a GSP or like a Anderson, there's no friction in those teams. It's just going, it's flowing. It needs to flow. I like the flow. You know, it's good vibes. You go to the gym with pleasure, and there's no drama, there's no stress, there's no That's a little bit my format. I when I go on training camps, I select the people, and I am very aware of the flow, and that's what I want to create, the flow towards victory.
And I remember you mentioned this a little bit at the beginning, but you and Andre are cool?
Well, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm not allowing him to disrupt my flow, but I don't think he's cool with me at all. But he will be. I mean, Coach Greg and Wing, they kind of said, give it some time, it'll be cool. And if it's not, it's also fine. I mean, we never really trained together before we fought. Now it's after the fight, we're still not training together. And yeah, it's all good.
So have you seen his preparation at all for Josh? Or
I did, a little bit, not all the time, but I was in the gym a couple times. I just saw him last week, move around for the last time.
Looking good?
Yeah, it's Andre, I don't know what he's planning, but it's Andre, what he's always doing. Yeah, the coaches were satisfied about it, so I don't know. Just Burnett is tough opponent. Technical opponent, tough opponent, been all over the place. So, yeah, I don't know the details for Andre, but it looked okay.
You said it's important in training camp to eliminate all that friction. Have you felt any friction down in Albuquerque now since the Andre fight?
No.
Maybe not just Andre, but also.
The coaches have been absolutely great. I mean, they're just, and then Andre just a little bit, you don't get a good morning, but I didn't get a good morning before, so. Yeah, but yeah.
You were talking before about the old days of Badr Hari, that I wonder if you still look at kickboxing, what do you think of a Rico Verhoeven? I mean, what do you think of these guys? And a lot of them. Okay, I'll stop there for now.
I gotta laugh because No, I gotta laugh because kickboxing is a shame. I know Pierre. Pierre Honorant is a great guy, and he's put in a lot of his resources to build the kickboxing. He's unfortunately been unsuccessful. Kickboxing is, hanging on a thread. There's not really a competition there. So, but of course you watch it because it's Dutch people fighting. It's like a lot of Dutch people. You got Nicky Holskin, you got Myrtle, Rico is in there, Saki's coming back, I believe. But it's a shame because the K1 days are unfortunately over. Right? You had the big stadiums, Tokyo Dome, 70,000 people, and it's just not like that anymore, unfortunately. For some sort of reason, they made the wrong business decisions, or it could also be that there's no contestants because it's like it's a weak heavyweight division. It's only Rico basically. Rico's doing a great job. He won his last fight.
He's fighting in a couple weeks actually too.
Yeah, he's fighting Silva, I think, from Brazil.
Yep.
But no, I'm actually very curious. There might be a chance that Rico might come to UFC.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to see what your opinion was.
I think, again, he's doing great over there, but there it's not test. In the end, it's always about testing yourself and finding the limits. There is no really real competition in glory. So I would personally love to see him making the transition. It's going to be a little bit the same story as Punk. It's going to be hard for him. But if you want to be for the world audience, you got to do it. If you want to test yourself, you got to do it.
Well, he did. I know he's trained at some different places, and he went up to AKA for a little bit. But is that something that you would you big brother him maybe? Would you be the guy to help him transition into MMA? Because obviously you've been there and you know how to take the steps.
Well, I had other people talk about it. Yeah, why did you do the union and the this and the that and help others? I'm helping myself right now, if you don't mind, and I'm going to help the people around me. And I have a lovely new daughter, Jazz Lee. I'm looking forward to close my career and spend more time with them because that's been taking a lot of time away from my family. And other people, I don't really have a relationship with them. I'm not really going to pursue that, to be honest.
How much more of your own career are you looking forward to then? How many more years? How long?
Couple years.
Yeah.
I still got a couple of years left.
How much weight would winning or not winning the title have on that decision?
Well, it's all about enjoying what you're doing, right? So I enjoy what I'm doing, and then if you're able to do it, my body's still 100% good. So a couple of years. And then, if it really starts to go down, maybe sooner. But, heavyweights have longevity, as you said.
There's nobody yet. Did we ask you this before that you haven't fought yet that you still would like to?
You mean an opponent?
Yeah.
No, yeah, Kane. Kane is the only one who's kind of like, a name, and that could be nice. And, he did well in his last fight, so if he keeps on going, then I could see that happen.
You mentioned being a father. I'm always curious with athletes who have children and have been in the business as long as you. If your daughter grew up and, let's say, wanted to fight, would you let her? And if not, why?
Well, life is all about finding what you're good at and then pursuing that, right? Because I remember when I had a job, I hated every millisecond of it, and time goes slow, and you're not. It was like, what was it again? It was like construction or something. I had a couple of jobs in that summer, and it was like terrible. My mother sent me to the job center to get a job because I got kicked out of school, and I just hated it. And at the same time, I started training. So this was when I was 14, and the feeling that I had, the unhappy feeling, that was my engine into training. And when I'm still a little bit like thinking about that, I still get energized. Yes, this is what we want to do. Because we really like to train, we really like that development, we like to travel, meet people, and I really dislike to work for a boss. I end up working more. I work basically 24/7 now because it's the diet, it's this. You work as an assistant too. You're arranging things, you're networking, and contacting, and putting people together. So I end up working a lot more. I end up working day and night, but it's for me and it's what I love, so it doesn't feel like work.
Well, you have a new boss now, William Morris. Has anything changed for you personally with the new ownership?
Well, not yet. I received an email, WME. So we're gonna have a cup of coffee after this fight.
Oh, yeah?
We're gonna see what's up.
And do you how many fights do you have left on your contract?
It's none of your business. She sneaked it in there at the end, right? At the end. Again, in Holland, it's very rude to talk about.
It's
these,
my job. You're talking about a job. I got a job.
How much money do you make per month?
Not enough, hon.
Where's your tax return? Where did I say this to? So, no, we don't, you keep a little bit on the inside.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, fair enough.
Do you see if you win the championship, and you don't like doing social media, but a lot of that
No,
stuff
I'm starting to do that a little bit. I do a little bit of social media, but I'm actually going to do that a little bit more. But you hire a guy, he's running with you all day long, he does it a little bit. I could see myself doing that a little bit.
What do you see being in the game as long as you've been? What's been the biggest change, would you say, in MMA of training, fighting, money?
There's been a lot of changes, and that being said, the biggest change is change. Change is constant. It changes all the time. You need to always get better, because you might find a way that works. 3 years later, it don't work anymore. People adapt. And it's ruthless. People kick your ass, So, and if you keep losing, you're gonna get cut. So you gotta adapt. You gotta change. You gotta go with the flow, and stay ahead of the curve.
How much of that would you say is a personal change, or how much of it is like a change in basically like everybody's doing this more or that more, or is it more just this is what?
No,
I'm
it's a
trying to
personal
do?
change. For everybody it's different. You gotta see where are you. Where do you need to go? You need to get the right coaches together, because you have in Holland you have kickboxing, and they're still teaching like they did 10, 15 years ago. You got to change it up, do different stuff. You even see Cain Velasquez throwing the spinning back kick. Even he's changing.
Has it gotten easier though with all the now weight cutting and all that is so much more specific? And granted, you don't have to cut weight, but fitness and nutrition, I would imagine, has gotten a lot easier for you guys over the years.
Well, internet is helping because a lot of information is available. So that's the one big handy thing. Travel, everything is close, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
But reinvention, some people have the option of dropping a weight class. That's not, you really couldn't, right? You have to cut a leg off to make 205.
Maybe I could, but it needs to be a little bit healthy too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm gonna because then I had to walk around at like 225. And I'm already cutting weight now. Can't you see? 5 rounds? 5 rounds ready? And then you're going to go even less? It'll be like this. No. No, I'm happy in the heavyweights, and we might even, again, we're fighting Stipe. Stipe is like same as me, same height, same weight. But for the bigger guys, and then I'm talking about whoever's bigger, we might even want to put on like 5 pounds, maybe 6, maybe 7, and we can. We just train up the schedule a little bit, eat a little bit more, and then we are a little bit more heavy. But for now, for Stipe, we want to, cardio is important. We want to be fast, we want to be accurate, and we want to be that for 5 rounds.
It seems that that's been a good approach, that kind of leaner heavyweight. I remember Travis.
Conor Reed.
Conor Reed. But when what was it? Travis came out a little bit leaner for one of his fights, and people have suggested that Junior should lose muscle mass. You know what I mean?
Junior's huge.
Yeah.
He's like this.
Yeah. Do you feel that is a detriment to their performance being too big?
Well, Travis is tall too, right?
Yeah.
So that's a
Travis
little
is
bit.
leaner, but yeah, he's tall.
Yeah,
he's very tall.
But Junior, I think Junior looks. And the funny thing is, when I fought him, he looked like more jacked, and then his weight was like this. Yeah. I don't know. For everybody, it's like they got to figure it out themselves what works.
Out of curiosity, what have you been doing to really get your cardio prepared for the 5 rounds?
Well, it's a couple of things, but again, I'm not gonna say too much because it's not good to talk too much, and I'm already talking too much. Damn it!
You didn't speak about the evolution of a fighter. What do you see from Stipe as far as evolution? Have you seen much of that change, or do you feel like he's the same fighter that he was when he came into the game?
No, he's definitely different. He's different. He's like a fighter of now. How long has he been fighting? A couple of years? Not that long actually. So hadn't really had to change, but he's just really good at what he does. He's aggressive. He can take a punch. His cardio is great.
But he's going down.
Will it go 5 rounds?
I don't think so. But if it does, it does. But I'm very trained to not have it go to 5 rounds. We like to finish it. Yeah? We like to finish it, dance on the after party, go home, chill, be in one piece. That's also longevity, because if you're gonna have these 5 round wars all the time, that's not a healthy thing, right?